Take a sip of my coffee here. Turn the cell phone down. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like this video or the stream. Please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on the playback. So welcome. I see there's one viewer in here. I have an idea of who that viewer is, though if it is who I think it is, he might have left a comment already. In any case, tonight is the start of the 2020-21 NBA basketball season. So I'm going to start with a disclaimer here. This has been, and this probably will be for the most part, a Michigan football channel. But when I created Big Discussions 76 Sports, I built in enough flexibility. There's a reason I didn't make this Big Discussions 76 Michigan football. So I wanted to leave myself enough flexibility to do sports of all kinds, not just Michigan football, but also basketball. And, at some point, maybe I'll do some MMA and some UFC and, some prize fighting when I can, catch those things. I don't watch those things on a regular. I have a comment here. Let's see who this comment is from. Yep. Of course it is. Yep, it's Abdul Gaines. No, I haven't retired the Clown Clips gear yet, Abdul Gaines. I'm going to get to that, but let me finish my opening spiel. You're always interrupting me. But I started this channel to cover sports in general. I'm a Michigan alum, so I have a soft spot for them, and that creates a lot of content. So that will continue to be a Michigan football hub as much as I can make it that. But when appropriate, I will cover some other things. My brother Amal designed this logo, by the way. So shout out to my brother Amal. He's my artistic, my visual art and artistic content. He's my art director. I'll just call him that. This is my credentials slide or whatever you want to call it. I show this during my pre-records. I don't think I've ever shown this in one of my live streams, but that's my blogging platform, the Big Words blog site. That's my email address that I set up for YouTube. Some people have actually reached out to me over that email address. I have a Facebook page called Big Words Are Powerful, and I have a Twitter handle. Actually, I have two Twitters. One is at Anwar Yusuf. That was my first one, and then I created a Twitter handle for my blogging platform, and now my YouTube channels. That's at Big Words Are Powerful. I probably don't tweet enough. I do a lot of retweeting, and I tag Abdul Gaines and his brother and stuff. But if you're on Twitter, please follow me there. I don't have I have about 300, almost 400 followers there. And also on Instagram. Let me say that again. Also, I'm on Instagram, though I don't Instagram enough. Running a channel, writing a blog, working on a book, it all takes a lot of time. But those are my social media handles and contacts. So if you're on those platforms, please check me out. Please follow and subscribe. Let me see what my comments are saying over here. Alexander Dilworth. I see that I'm going to be outnumbered from the start. Abdul Gaines says, okay. You haven't retired your Clown Clips gear yet. Actually, our Lakers are going to turn 18 on the league this season. Alex Dilworth says, tonight starts the Lake Show. Oh, boy. The orgasm is starting already. Abdul Gaines says, you know what, Alex, the Clown Clips have been invited to a ring ceremony tonight. This will be the closest they'll ever be to a ring. As I was leading up to this live stream, I was actually thinking that I wanted to if I had it, I probably would have wore some Buffalo Braves gear. For those of you who don't know, the Buffalo Braves were, let me say this, the Los Angeles Clippers, and before them, the San Diego Clippers were actually the Buffalo Braves. So my hometown of Buffalo actually had a pro basketball team at one point, but the city went on a downward slide when the steel industry moved out and we lost our basketball team. So my entire childhood, we didn't have pro basketball in my home city of Buffalo, New York. So I'll probably, as I do my NBA content, I'll probably get some Buffalo Braves gear as I go along. Okay, this live stream. This is going to be basically, I'm going to give like a little monologue. I have a bunch of pictures here I want to show. This is not a Michigan football live stream. I'm up to over 800 subs now. So I'm not expecting a large crowd to come through, but I just wanted to do this at the start of the season. So I'm only going to talk for about an hour. I have to get on the road, and I have to get on the road at some point and make the drive to Buffalo, which is a 7 to 8 hour drive. But I wanted to get this in before the ring ceremony tonight. Okay, so let's get this started. Wow, so 2020 has been an interesting year. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do my little monologue and my little slideshow. You know, my style is humor. My influences are Jim Rome, guys like Jim Rome. So I have some humor here. Abdul Gaines is my unofficial show producer. Alex has been my wingman for the Michigan football. So I have a little slideshow here. And then I'm going to, walk through some talking points. And then I have 2 articles that I found that one is short enough for me to read. And then I have another article which has predictions for this season. And then I actually pulled the Lakers roster, since the name of this live stream is the Lakers are our favorites to repeat. Well, we're going to take a look at the Lakers roster and see what they did and why they are favorites to repeat. And then I'm going to ask some questions at the end about some other teams that NBA fans and even Laker fans might need to look out for, aside from the Clippers. Now, I'm not saying the Clippers are a threat. I read that someone rated them as still one of the top teams in the Western Conference. So let's go, because I have to make this drive at some point. I'm planning on making this drive tonight. And I should make it, if I leave by a certain hour, I should get to Buffalo in time to watch the ring ceremony. All right. By the way, we are still on a Harbaugh watch. So even though this is an NBA live stream, we are still on a Harbaugh watch. I'm still looking to see if there's anything happening in Ann Arbor. The Iowa game was scheduled after the Ohio State game was canceled, and then that got canceled. And, I heard a bunch of players broke protocol and so on, et cetera, et cetera. So, I probably will do a college football playoff live stream. And so we're still on a Harbaugh watch here. Still got my bobblehead right here. Who's got it better than us? So 2020 has been an interesting year. When I started Big Discussion 76 Sports, I started playing around with a couple of things. I had intended to do Michigan football to a large degree here, which I did. And I appreciate everyone who has come through and supported the channel, even if you're from one of the other fan bases, like the Ohio State fan base or Iowa or Wisconsin or whatever. I think I had a Bama fan roll through a couple of weeks ago. But I started doing some NBA stuff. And I focused on the Lakers and the Clippers, and I want to get to that. But I think the major story starting off 2020 was the passing of the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. So that was a shock to all of us. And some would argue, or some can argue, that the Lakers rallied around this to win their 17th title. So this was the big story at the beginning of 2020. And I pulled some other pictures here I actually did shoot 1 to 2 videos on this, and I think a Michigan football fan got upset because I put a picture of Kobe Bryant, or I referred to that video in a Michigan pre-recorded video. So some of the fans here aren't happy about intermingling between the topics, but I will always remember this cover. This is the iconic slam cover where when Kobe got drafted. This was back in 1996. This was after what I would consider to be the last great NCAA men's tournament. In that tournament, you had Allen Iverson, you had Ray Allen, you had Kerry Kittles, you had Stephon Marbury, Marcus Camby, Steve Nash, Antoine Walker, his Kentucky Wildcat team won the entire thing that season. John Wallace led Syracuse. John Wallace was from my nearby Rochester. Rochester is our sister city. If you listen to the last live stream about LaSalle basketball, they got beat in 1991-92 in the Far West Regional by John Wallace's Greece Athena team. So I'm saying all this to say that in terms of Kobe Bryant, this is I'll always remember this Slam magazine cover. I have a couple comments coming in here. Let's see. Abdul Gain says, "We're going to win for Kobe, always for the Black Mamba." Alex says, "Cybertwan." I think that's Antoine Walker. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Sharif Abdul Rahim. He played 1 year for Cal Berkeley, and I think he ran Jelani. I think it was Jelani Gardner out of there because Jelani Gardner, I think, was the same height, same position, same type of player. And Abdul Rahim got in there, played 1 year, and then he went to the pros. Allen, by the way, if you got this magazine, Allen wasn't on the cover with these guys. If you open the magazine up, there was a fold out of Allen Iverson in there. I interviewed a ball player from my area named Jason Rowe. And Jason Rowe, you can look back at that interview. It's a pre-record. I interviewed him on print, but also here. And he told me that during that interview that he actually roomed with Kobe at the ABCD camp at Fair Lake Dickinson. So Jason, I didn't know that. Jason was one of the best ball players from the Buffalo area, and he played AAU, and he got invited to ABCD camp 1 year, and he got to room with Kobe. So I pulled some pictures of Kobe at Lower Merion. I did not hear of Kobe until, well, that NBA draft. I started hearing about this kid from Lower Merion. Here's another picture of Kobe here at Lower Merion. And then here's a picture of Kobe in high school driving to the basket. So I'm just showing all these pictures to pay homage to Kobe because this is how we started off the year with his unfortunate passing. So let's move on a little bit here. Let's stir the drink a little bit. So if you look at the banner of my channel, this is a Michael Jordan house. And there's a reason MJ is on the banner for my channel. Because in middle school, I started following the NBA right around 1987, 88. And that was Michael's ascent to who Mike Jordan became to be. Or should I say who Mike Jordan came to be. That was the ascent. That was on a weak but strengthening Bulls team. I think I got inspired to really play basketball when MJ hit the shot over Craig Elo. They upset the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think I remember ever getting that excited over a basketball game before, but MJ hit the shot. They went on to the next round to defeat the Pitino New York Knicks. And then they fell in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Detroit Pistons. But I'm saying this to say that without a doubt, this is a Mike Jordan house and a Mike Jordan channel. So in this whole GOAT, the greatest of all time argument that keeps coming up over and over and over again, and which will probably go on and on and on forever, this is going to be my guy. So that was the one stretch of my life when I watched the NBA pretty regularly. And I think that, that summer I started watching was when the Lakers repeated against the Bad Boy Pistons just as they were on their ascent. And as you know, the Bad Boy Pistons were the ones standing in the way of MJ's Bulls. And that's the team that Michael Jordan and the Bulls had to beat as they got over the hump. The Bulls got stronger, they got tougher. But also, when we look back at that, we also have to remember that the Pistons also got older. So they aged out. So it would have been interesting to see how much longer that series would have gone had the Pistons been a younger, more youthful team. It used to break my heart every time MJ and the Bulls lost to the Pistons. And apparently there's a feud that's still running between MJ and Isaiah. And I don't think it's really going with any of the other Pistons, but it's for the most part going between MJ and Zeke. Jordan had some very, very choice words for Isaiah when ESPN aired The Last Dance. And some people have rallied behind Isaiah. Some people have rallied behind Mike. I kind of wish they would just kind of bury the whole thing because that's history now. And they contributed a lot to the game. And I feel like that was the golden age of the game, in my opinion. The unfortunate thing about that, for those of us who were watching at that time, and for all you millennials and zillennials who only know LeBron as the GOAT, and we're going to get to that in a second, is that because of MJ's fallout with Isaiah got kept off of the original Dream Team. And which to me, even though MJ hated his guts and Pip hated his guts, in my opinion, that was a sin. I thought Isaiah was a much better basketball player, a much better point guard than Stockton. You know, Isaiah won 2 titles. Isaiah won a Final Four. Isaiah had that killer instinct. I thought he was much more accomplished than any of the other guys on that team besides MJ, Bird, and Magic. But I think that goes to show, politics, and you have to, when Dennis Rodman made his comments about Bird, as the leader of the Pistons, in hindsight, maybe Isaiah should have taken a different position on that. I see another comment has come in. I'm going to read this. Abdul Gain says, props to Zeke. He never laid down and bowed to the alleged GOAT. So somehow, during this whole thing, Abdul Gaines and his brother have become Zeke fans. They besmirch Michael at every chance, and they talk to me in our text group about how horrible of an owner MJ is, and how much the fellow Wizards players couldn't stand Mike, and somehow Abdul Gaines throughout all this has positioned himself against Mike, even though Kobe Bryant built his game based upon Mike's game. I'm sorry, I had to get that in there, but it's true. And Kobe admitted that Mike was his gold standard. I have another comment here from Mississippi Dog. Lakers winning the chip this year with no problem. Kuzma is back to his original self, and the emergence of Talen Horton Tucker is huge. Talen Horton Tucker looking like a future all-star. Talen Horton Tucker just needs shots. I've been hearing a lot about him from Abdul Gaines. I didn't get to see Talen Horton Tucker play. I should get to Buffalo in time to see the game, so I'll get to see the kid play. Jordan screwed Zeke out of the 92 Dream Team. I've always held that against MJ. MJ is the MJ of bad owners. Let me take a sip of my coffee for this one. If anyone wants to donate to the channel, if you're watching on the live, the live broadcast or on the playback, my Cash App is in the description box below. It's the holiday season. I know everyone's out shopping. People were out shopping here in the DMV yesterday. You're under no pressure to do this, but just as public service announcement. I see a comment here from Alex Dilworth. I'm going to read that as soon as I get done doing this. I was buying gifts last night. The Bed Bath and Body Works I was going to actually closed, so I had to go to Target to get my mother her coffee maker. Alex says MJ was wrong for doing that to Zeke. Period. He got his feelings. We are all human, but MJ owes Zeke an apology. Whoa. Okay. So this is probably where I will alienate some of you Ohio folks. And I know Alex is from Northern Ohio, and Abdul Gaines himself just converted over to the Ohio State fan base. But that's okay. So again, this is a Michael Jordan house. And so in my opinion, this guy is not the GOAT. Let me just, in any NBA content that I create from this point on, this is going to be one of my underlying viewpoints. This guy's not the GOAT. This gets argued a lot today on social media. It gets argued a lot on Facebook. It gets argued a lot on Twitter. Who is the GOAT? Is it Mike? Is it LeBron? Is it Kareem with that sky hook? Is it Oscar Robertson? Is it Magic? Well, I don't think it's this guy. I think it's MJ. This guy was the first to ever do something like this. This of course is from the historic "I'm taking my talents to South Beach" debacle. I remember watching this. I think I was in graduate. No. It might have been after I was in graduate school. No, I think it was here when I was after I started my federal career. There was this big old buildup. Paul Pierce and the Boston Celtics just broke him. I had to get that in there. They said they broke LeBron. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket. And at that time, Ray Allen, Kendrick Perkins, they said we broke LeBron. And at the end of that series, LeBron did look kind of scared. And so, we had this little debacle here where he got on TV and gave his little speech, and he dissed his home region and said, I want to take my talents to South Beach. So, and he got a lot of criticism from this from guys like Barkley. And I know all the pro LeBron guys are, they crucify Charles Barkley and they say Charles Barkley never won a title. Charles Barkley is just bitter. Charles Barkley is whack, all those different things. But it's true. Back in the day, you didn't just jump from team to team to team to team. You stayed with your team and you built it up. And if you didn't win, you didn't win. I can only imagine what these two comments here are about. Oh, let's debate. It's not even close. Okay. So where's the king now? Where's the king now? This guy some of you all call the GOAT. Well, 2 years ago, he signed with the Lakers, which for me was kind of bizarre because, okay, you got drafted by Cleveland, you went down to Miami, you went back to Cleveland, and now you're going out to Los Angeles. So, yeah, he signed with the Lakers. Didn't do too well that first year. And then they retooled. The next year, picked up Anthony Davis, got rid of Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram and all those young little parts, and brought in guys like Danny Green and Alex Caruso and Contavious Caldwell Pope. So they retooled and built themselves into a more competitive team. I see two comments here. Hold on. Let me see what these guys are saying. And you forgot the Boys and Girls Club got $7 million. Everybody forgets that. That's why it's not close. Oh, must be him jumping from team to team to team. Okay. me get back to my little diatribe here. So, so he got his new team, and they became the quote unquote team to beat in the West. And then something else interesting happened. Kawhi Leonard signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. I think, if I recall correctly, LeBron, I think, wanted Kawhi to come to Los Angeles to play for the Lakers. But Kawhi decided he was going to do his own thing, and he was going to go sign with the team across the hall, or as some would call it, in the basement. And this was interesting because that spited a lot of Laker fans. That they really took it personally that Kawhi Leonard would come into the city, not sign with their heritage team, not with their legacy team, but that he would go and sign with the lesser team. And I think Paul George has something to do with that. And I think Doc Rivers has something to do with that. But Kawhi said, you know what, I want to sign with my own team. I'm going to talk about what happened with that in a little bit. But suffice it to say that spited the Laker fans. And it created what we thought was going to be a rivalry between the Lakers and the Clippers. But it also did something else. I often call Abdul Gaines, those of you who watch my Michigan football live streams, and if you watch my Michigan football pre-records, I have affectionately called Abdul Gaines my unofficial show producer. And the reason I call Abdul Gaines my unofficial show producer is because he comes up with stuff. I don't know how Abdul Gaines comes up with stuff, but he just comes up with stuff. And somewhere along the lines last year, let me read this comment since it's an Abdul Gaines comment. LBJ is a better teammate and leader than MJ ever was. Kawhi should regret signing with the basement team. Yeah, Abdul Gaines also says that Kobe and LeBron are much more interesting people than MJ will ever be. I don't know what that means. Perhaps you tell me. But Abdul Gaines comes up with stuff. And one thing he came up with last year was the clown clips. The clown clips, like the clips are clowns. So in any of my NBA content going forward, you might see, and these pictures circulate in our text group all week long, you might see some Jack Nicholson clown pictures, some Jack Nicholson Joker pictures come up in homage to Abdul Gaines and to the Clippers. You might see some Heath Ledger pictures come up in homage to Abdul Gaines and the clown clips. I never would have thought to call them I would have never thought to call the Clippers clowns, but somehow Abdul Gaines, in his wisdom, he thought of this. And this clown clips reference was going around all last season. Clown clips, clown clips, clown clips. And then even at the beginning of this year, even before this year started, even after the bubble ended, even after the Clippers got beat by the Denver Nuggets, it was clown clips, clown clips, clown clips all the time. I have some comments here. Let me read these comments. Abdul Gaines with a clown emoji. Alex Dilworth says, nope, better one. Them clips went clipping. So I have something to show you here. I with all this inspiration, I've fallen in love with Abdul Gaines. Made me think back to something from my childhood, and as you know, sometimes I do movie references. I'm a fan of movies. I have an entertainment channel, and all of these analogies, the clown clips, the nonstop Laker. Hold on a second. The nonstop Laker references. It's like this scene from the Twilight Zone when William Shatner was on the airplane, and the gremlin comes in on the wing and it starts to torment him. throughout the flight, and William Shatner goes crazy. This is how Abdul Gaines's clown clips and Ohio State and we hate Alabama. This is how all this stuff comes in. It just comes in out of nowhere, and when it comes in, it's relentless. It just doesn't stop. And it's like, yeah, sometimes the clown clips and the Laker propaganda, it comes in, and I'm pointing out the window and asking for someone to help me, but it just keeps coming over and over and over again. It just keeps coming, you know. It just keeps coming. The Lakers, the propaganda, it's nonstop. The Lakers are a heritage team. The Lakers are going to turn 18 this year. Lakers, 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 all the time. I'm going to stop this now, and then it stops for a little while, and then he flies away. It goes away, and it comes back. This is why I call him my unofficial show producer. And by the way, they remade this when they did the Twilight Zone movie. They remade that with John Lithgow in William Shatner's place, and they made a more gruesome looking gremlin. So if you ever have a chance to watch that, if you have time to watch that, I recommend that Twilight Zone movie from the early 80s. Alex says Clippers are clowns because they got crushed by the Joker. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So COVID. So moving on. I'm at 32 minutes. Go to my comment section real quick. So moving on. We know that the beer bug shut everything down. My heart goes out to those kids who, at all the Division I schools, who didn't get to live their dream and play in the NCAA tournament. They shut everything down right around March, and the NBA season got cut off. And the question was, wow, who would have won that title had the season played out? The Clippers won the first two games. The Lakers won the last game in that series. And the Lakers had built up a lead in the Pacific Division. The Clippers had done some load managing. That's something Abdul Gaines also talked to me a lot about via text ad nauseum. Kawhi is load managing. Kawhi is not a real champion. Kawhi this, Kawhi that. So sports got shut down around March. And then right around June, July, when we were also wondering if the Big Ten would start again, we got word that the NBA was going to come back to finish out the season in the bubble, the NBA bubble, right? And then we saw some interesting things. Players like Avery Bradley decided not to come back, decided it would be better to stay with his family. Of course, that really chapped the hide of fans like Abdul Gaines, because if they felt like Avery Bradley quit on his team, and he quit on the Lakers, and he quit on the legacy team. And then the Lakers tried to fill that gap by signing J.R. Swish. Hey, who remembers this iconic moment where J.R. got the rebound and dribbled it out and killed the clock, and LeBron looked at him like, what the fuck? WTF? What are you doing? One of the great moments in sports history. Let me read these comments. Great movie. Yes, it was. I think we should have that MJ and LeBron debate. Abdul set it up. Abdul, can I get in on the, oh, geez. Oh, geez. Well, Alex, let me warn you, there's a lot more in that group chat besides Lakers basketball and Michigan, Ohio State football. So be warned. There's a lot more to that. So the bubble. So they resumed with an eight game a condensed 8-game regular preseason to get the teams warmed back up. Of course, the Lakers beat the Clippers in the opening game. LeBron D'd up Kawhi and Paul George, and everybody was celebrating. Oh, LeBron single-handedly beat the Clippers. We're in much better shape than the Clippers, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And then the postseason play started. The truncated postseason play started, and the Clippers showed a high level of vulnerability. They got taken to the brink by the young Dallas Mavericks. Some would argue, I think, that the first or the second game was stolen from the Mavericks. And, of course, there was the Luka Doncic shot. I was out and about when this happened. I think I was at the park in my lawn chair with my legs folded reading a book when I looked at my phone and saw people celebrating that Luka Doncic hit this shot over Reggie Jackson. And there was, the talk was how Kawhi switched off of Luka Doncic and blah, 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 blah. So they narrowly escaped the Dallas Mavericks. And then the Clippers ran into another buzzsaw in the young Denver Nuggets. And I'm going to give Abdul Gaines credit here. I didn't watch the NBA throughout the season, so I didn't know just how good the Nuggets were. And there was talk before the playoffs started that, that they would be a threat to whoever sees them in the second round. And the Clippers just happened to draw these guys in the second round. And after beating the Nuggets decisively in game one, the Nuggets won the next four out of five. I just had to do that math really quickly in my head. And they embarrassed the Clippers. It was very interesting to watch that all unfold, because in most of those games, the Clippers were in those games in the second half. I'm sorry, in the first half. They were in those games in the first half. And then slowly, in every game the Clippers lost, the Nuggets just pulled away. The Clippers had no answer for Nikola Jokic, who coincidentally people had nicknamed the Joker. The Clippers had no answer for Jokic. Jokic could step out beyond three-point range. He could hit cutters to the basket. He hit fall-away shots that had no business going in. So they had no answer for that. They also had no answer for Jamal Murray. His arm is covering it up, but I think he's number 21, who's actually an Ontario kid. He's Canadian, played at Kentucky, but he caught fire in the playoffs, and the Clippers had no answer for that. So, as someone rooting for the Clippers, that was painful to watch that slip away game after game after game, and surprisingly, with Kawhi and Paul George on the same roster, it was amazing to see that neither one could really, in the second halves of those games, take charge and control the tempo and bring their team back. But that team obviously had flaws. Doc Rivers was blamed in large part for that meltdown. I questioned, the offensive game plan. I questioned the defensive adjustments. I questioned why they could not come up with a solution for what was happening. It could have been the bubble. It could have been that Denver was that good. It could have been that the Clippers were just that flawed a team. And at times on offense, in the second half in particular, they looked particularly lost. And they had this expression right here. The whole team had this expression on their faces as that series was spiraling out of control. Interestingly, over the summer, and I think this is something that spited a lot of Laker fans, and that's that Jerry West was the one who basically put that Clipper team together. And I shot a video on this in June stating that Jerry West was a little sad, quote unquote, that we weren't going to get we weren't going to get to see the Lakers and the Clippers matchup in the finals or in a playoff matchup. Obviously, as we know, the Clippers did not hold up their end of the bargain, But interestingly, Jerry West was the one who helped put that team together. And I think I saw in the news that there's some sort of controversy with him recruiting and those kinds of things. But, in summary, he was hoping to see this. I was hoping to see this just for the fun of it. And the Clippers were unable to hold up their side of the bargain. So, after this was me throughout the majority of that series. This is my Kramer pick. This is one of my favorite picks. And this is how I was feeling as I was watching that series spiral out of control for the Clippers. And this was the Game 6 final score, 111-98. We're almost done, guys. The Nuggets were somewhat competitive against the Lakers. They made it a series, but they eventually got overpowered. The Lakers were able to slow down both Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, and the Nuggets got some good production from some of their other players. But the one player who I think really let them down, or who didn't show up, was Gary Harris. They really could have used shooting from Gary Harris. And then Anthony Davis hit that big shot. I think it was at the end of Game 3 or Game 4, which elevated the Lakers above the Nuggets. So the Lakers didn't completely maul them, but they showed that they were the stronger and the more experienced team. And then down the stretch of those last couple of games, they went ahead and they put Frank Vogel put LeBron on Jamal Murray and pretty much bottled him up. So the Lakers beat the Nuggets and went on to the Western Conference Final in the bubble, where they beat an injured Miami Heat team. If you look at the rosters, if you line them up, even if Miami was 100% healthy, the Lakers probably still would have won. But even Abdul Gaines was a little upset because Jimmy Butler was being placed in the same argument with LeBron in terms of being an alpha dog, and Abdul Gaines didn't appreciate that. The Lakers won the Larry O'Brien. I didn't watch the last game. I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't watch it, so I didn't watch that final game. I looked on my Facebook page and I had to turn away. I looked on Twitter and I had to turn away, and I didn't watch that last game. So I just couldn't stand to see that Laker orgasm. I have some comments here. Absolutely, Alex. We love to have you. Email me at Abdul Gaines, and we can exchange numbers, and I'll add you to the group chat. All right, Alex, you've been warned. It's not just a sports group. It goes into other areas. They blew double-digit leads in the third and fourth quarter in the last 4 games. I think you're talking about the Clippers. The choke job that the Clippers put forth against Denver is worse than what the 2016 Warriors did. Take a swig of my coffee here. I believe the Clown Clips put forth the worst choke job in NBA history. That's entirely possible. I have nothing but respect for Denver. I love their heart and never say die attitude. They displayed a mental toughness that is foreign to the Clown Clip organization. Jimmy Butler could only be a champion if he is a team's third best player. Wow. Okay. So there's a slap at Jimmy Butler. So tonight's season starts. It's back. It's going to be back at the Staples Center. No more bubble. All the teams will be playing in their venues. And tonight's ring ceremony is going to take place in Southern California. So with that, I found 2 articles, and I'm going to read through these. I'm going to read through the first one and kind of go over the points in the second one. And then I'll have some closing shots, and I'm going to finish packing for my trip. I'm going to enable my screen share here. Yeah. Okay. This article is entitled NBA Predictions 2020-21 Final Standings, Playoff Projections, NBA Finals Pick. Let me check my phone for a second here. Got a nice little text message there. Hold on a second. If you're new to the stream, please like it. If you're new to the channel, please share. So let's see. This was written by Jordan Greer. This says 2 hours ago, but it was uploaded yesterday. Anyway, if 2020 has taught us anything, it's to expect the unexpected. That lesson certainly applied to the most recent NBA season. After the league shut down in March, following Rudy Gobert's positive COVID-19 test, there were plenty of questions about how play could resume amid a global pandemic. Abdul Gaines was pretty fired up about Rudy Gobert and that his positive test. Not the fact that he was positive, and not the fact that he was concerned about the player, but he was just positive about, he was just worked up about the fact that Rudy Gobert let himself get infected and he didn't take the pandemic seriously. But that's just an aside. The NBA eventually figured out how to safely construct a bubble environment in Florida, and the strangest season in basketball history was finally completed in October. Yeah, we all know how that concluded. Again, I didn't watch the final game. I couldn't stomach it. Now, players are back in the real world, but the 2021 campaign will be far from normal. The threat of COVID-19 still looms large. There will be more positive tests as the season progresses, and fans in many cities will not be able to attend games for quite some time. Throw in the other typical factors: injuries, load management, trades, coaching changes, and it's not hard to see why projecting the season will play out is no easy task. Even though the Lakers are picked to repeat, even though the Lakers are going to turn 18, quote unquote. So, what should hoop heads expect? Here are sporting news predictions for the 2021 NBA season, including full standings for the Eastern and Western conferences. So, they're predicting that the Bucks will finish. These are the playoff standings they're going to predict. So I'm not going to read over every team, but they're going to predict. They're predicting that the Bucks will be the number 1 seed. Boston will be number 2, and the Brooklyn Nets will be number 3. I'm going to come back to the Brooklyn Nets because I think that's a team to watch out for, and I'm going to tell you why. So they're going to have a play-in tournament this year. So I've never seen something like this before. Milwaukee no longer has to worry about Giannis. Let me see if I can say this. Antetokounmpo. I've heard it a million times, but I've never had to say it. Becoming a free agent. So winning a championship is the main focus. While the Bucks did lose a little depth this offseason, that should force Mike Budenholzer to put his best players on the floor for longer stretches. What a concept. Let's give them the top seed in the East for the 3rd consecutive season. All the teams in numbers 2 through 6 in the number 2 through 6 range could make real playoff runs if things break right for them. The Celtics, Gordon Hayward and Raptors, Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. Okay, right. So the Celtics lost Gordon Hayward and the Raptors lost Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. Both lost significant pieces in free agency, but they bring back strong cores. The Nets and Sixers will need time to gel. Still, the talent is there. Oh, and the Heat remain a threat after an incredible bubble run. This should be intense. The Pacers bring back every key player from last season. They should at least reach the play-in round and possibly sneak into the top 6. The Hawks are firmly in the playoff conversation after transforming the roster around Trae Young. Defense will be an issue, but Atlanta should rack up a ton of points. Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook give the Wizards 2 All-NBA type players. That's enough to land them in this tier. After 2 consecutive first-round exits, will the Magic consider a teardown at some point, or will Steve Clifford's squad just do what it always does? Okay, so the Wizards, which is my quote-unquote home team here in the DMV, we have Russell Westbrook now. That should be interesting because he likes to shoot the ball, and so does Bradley Beal. So these are the Eastern Conference lottery teams: Chicago, Charlotte, Detroit, Cleveland, and New York. So they are expected to finish at the bottom. NC Worker, good morning. Alex says, not third, but second player. Jimmy is tough. Okay. It's a big season for Wendell Carter Jr., Laurie. It's a big season for the Wendell Carter Jr., Laurie Markkanen front court. They both need to take steps forward under new coach Billy Donovan if the Bulls want to be more than a young, occasionally exciting team. Gordon Hayward should elevate the Hornets out of the basement and close to the play-in round if, and it's a major if, he can stay healthy. Look out for sneaky fun LaMelo Ball and Devontae Graham stretches on League Pass. The bottom 3. These teams are in player development mode, so it's unreasonable to anticipate many victories. Knicks fans, your team didn't hand out a terrible contract this year. That's progress. So now let's go over to Abdul Gaines' favorite conference. Well, now his favorite. Well, yeah, he's always been a Lakers fan, so this is his favorite conference and his favorite team. So the Western Conference playoff teams, surprise, surprise, the Lakers are number 1, followed by the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Dallas Mavericks. So under this seeding, the Lakers would see the Mavericks in the second round, and there would be a rematch between the Nuggets and the Clippers in the second round as well, assuming they got past their first round opponents. So, and under this scenario, the play-in tournament would involve Phoenix, Golden State, New Orleans, and Memphis. So the prediction is the champs stay on top. After winning the 2020 NBA title, Los Angeles made off-season upgrades and signed both Anthony Davis and LeBron James to new deals. Kyle Kuzma also got a new deal a couple of days ago. The Lakers have a 33% chance of reaching the 2021 NBA Finals and a 21% chance of winning back-to-back titles, according to 538's season preseason forecast. They are rightly considered the championship favorites. Let me see if there's a comment over here. No, they're still talking about Jimmy Butler. LA's other team is so they're saying this as our current president said after tweeting something last year. It wasn't me. I didn't say this. The Sporting News is saying this. LA's other team is the biggest challenger to the throne, but the bet here is that the Nuggets will finish ahead of the Clippers as Tyronn Lue experiments with different strategies ahead of the postseason. Luka Doncic's individual brilliance is enough to push the Mavericks into the top 4. So that comment about the Clippers and Tyronn Lue, who has taken over for Doc Rivers, experimenting with different strategies, that should be interesting because one of the knocks on the Clippers and one of the things they did and one of the things Abdul Gaines talked about regularly was the load management. And arguably, the load management in terms of chemistry and in terms of team morale, that probably did come back to haunt the Clippers. And, there were murmurings and reports once they got eliminated that many of the other Clipper players didn't like all of the load managing that Kawhi got to do. So it'll be interesting to see what they learned from last season and in the aftermath of last season, what they will do and what Tyronn Lue will do differently this season. Portland and Utah should keep their respective playoff streaks alive, but the play-in teams right below them could crash the top 6 party. If Chris Paul can come close to replicating his Thunder season, the Suns should finish above 500. Outside of Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, who do you trust on the Warriors? Bring on the John Morant and Williamson highlights. So the Western Conference's lottery teams are Houston, Minnesota, San Antonio, Sacramento, and OKC. So this article is just about done. Good luck trying to figure out what will happen in Houston. Even an unhappy James Harden is worth a bundle of wins. So the Rockets may hang around the fringes of the playoff picture as long as he is in red and he's in a red and white uniform. Let's assume he gets traded before the March deadline. So I also saw some news about James Harden leading up to, over the last couple of weeks. The Kings and Timberwolves have potential, but the West is too competitive for the youngsters. Will the LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan rumors kick into high gear if San Antonio starts to sink in the standings? Sam Presti is going to somehow acquire a dozen more first-round picks over the next few months. So their Eastern Conference Finals pick, the Nets over the Bucks. Unfortunately for Giannis, I'm not going to try to say his last name in the Bucks, this isn't the year they break through. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving drive the Nets to the 2021 NBA Finals with spectacular crunch time scoring in multiple games. Giannis averages close to a triple-double for the series, but it's not enough to take down Brooklyn's dynamic duo. All right. So for the Western Conference Finals, Lakers versus Clippers. Okay, so they're picking the Clippers to make it to the final round, the conference final this year. Let me close this. This is distracting me. It's the battle for LA we all wanted to watch in 2020. The Lakers reign supreme in a 6-game slugfest in a matchup full of stars. The X factor turns out to be the Clippers' inability to create easy baskets against the Lakers' stifling team defense. Oh, I'm sure Abdul Gaines loves that. The NBA Finals prediction for 2021, Lakers over Nets. It will be awesome if Kyrie and KD, get the Nets to the finals against the Lakers. The 4th NBA Finals battle between Durant and James ends with LeBron capturing his 5th ring, but here's the twist. Davis wins the Finals MVP award after dominating the Nets with an incredible combination of scoring, rebounding, and defensive versatility. So that's that article. So they're picking the Lakers to win it all. What's interesting, I have my eyes on that Brooklyn team. It's a long season. Well, I think they're chopping off 10 games. So it's still going to be 72 games. But I think for the Brooklyn team, assuming Kyrie and KD stay healthy, then the next question is who's going to be their third scorer, or who's going to be their supporting cast. And I'll probably pull up their roster before I finish this. So I'm going to stop this article here. I see some new folks, a few new faces have come in are watching live. If you haven't, please like the stream. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Those are free. So let's see. This is CBS Sports. This is more of their pundits making their picks as opposed to a narrative. So I'm going to go through this one pretty quickly. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is where I got that picture from of LeBron and AD. So this is basically them, their sports, their staff picking who's going to win what. So the division winners, I'm just going to talk about what the consensus is. Avery Johnson is one of these people. They're picking, different people have picked the Raptors to win, the Atlantic, the Celtics, and the Sixers and the Nets to pick All four of these teams are picked to win the Atlantic Division. The Bucks are the unanimous favorite to win the Central Division. The Heat are the unanimous favorite to win the Southeast Division. Excuse me. Let's see. 5 out of these 7 individuals picked the Nuggets to win the Northwest Division. The Lakers are the unanimous pick to win the Pacific Division, and the Mavericks are the unanimous pick to win the Southwest Division. In terms of the Eastern Conference seeding, the Bucks are the favorite to be the number 1 seed. This Jasmine Wimbush picked the Nets, and as you'll see as I go through these, Jasmine is riding pretty hard with the Nets. In terms of the number 2 seed, let's see, Avery picked the Heat. Some people picked the Celtics. Some people picked the Nets. I'm not going to go through all of these. Let's see. For the Western Conference seeding, this is very, very interesting. Well, maybe not. The majority picked the Lakers to be the number 1 seed. This guy, Bill Reeder. Bill Reeder, has picked the Clippers to be the number 1 seed. I think that's very... Maybe he knows something that the rest of us don't know. But assuming both of the rosters are healthy, that's very ambitious. But everyone else picked the Lakers to be the top seed. The number 2 seed is a mix between the Nuggets. Again, he did pick the Clippers to be the number 1 seed, but it's a mix between the Nuggets, the Clippers, and Portland, and then it pretty much goes down from there. For the Eastern Conference Finals, Avery Johnson picked the Heat to go back to the NBA Finals. 4 people picked the Bucks. This guy, James Herbert, picked the Sixers. And as I said, Jasmine, she's riding with the Nets. Jasmine picked the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm kind of hoping the Sixers have a young, talented squad as well. But I'm kind of hoping for the Nets just to see KD go up against LeBron and just to reunite Kyrie with LeBron again. That's always fun. And in the Western Conference Final, the majority of these individuals, including Avery Johnson and Jasmine Wimbush, they picked the Lakers. And we have another outlier here, Jack Maloney. Okay, this is him doing this, not me. Jack Maloney picked the Clippers to win the Western Conference Final. I don't know. Maybe these people know something that I don't know, that we don't know. Okay. So, in terms of the NBA Finals pick, the majority of these individuals must be all the caffeine. The consensus is that the Lakers will win the NBA title. This gentleman, Jack Maloney, over here on the end, he picked the Bucks. So, again, that's very ambitious. Abdul Gaines says, I forecast that the Clown Clips will face Dallas in the playoffs, and the Mavs will take them on an all expenses paid trip to South Fork. For those of you millennials and zillennials, that's a reference to the TV series Dallas with Larry Hagman and JR and Sue Ellen and Bobby and the rest of that gang. Once again, the Clown Clips will not get to the Western Conference Final. Yeah, let's see those sports pundits from CBS Sports. The Clippers still have a few believers out there. Let's see what else this says. And that's the end of that. So I'm going to stop. Let's take a quick look at the Laker roster since the Lakers are the favorite to win. I'm going to acknowledge that. And based upon what I saw in the bubble and based upon the moves that they've made, I don't see why they wouldn't be the favorites to win. So let's take a quick look at the Lakers roster according to ESPN. I might take a look at the Clipper roster and the Brooklyn roster as well, because I want to see who's around Kyrie and KD. because that's going to impact whether or not they get to the conference final and whether or not they get to the NBA final. ESPN Lakers roster. So this is your new and improved Laker roster, according to ESPN. Wow, is this Giannis's brother, Kostas? I'm not going to try to say the last name. So they've got this looks like Giannis's brother, Devontae Kaycock. They're bringing back Contavious Caldwell Pope. It was painful for me to watch, but KCP hit a lot of good shots for them, a lot of clutch shots for them in the bubble run. Their salaries are posted over here as well. Wow, Contavious is getting $12 million. Alex Caruso. He gave them some tiny play in the bubble as well. Quinn Cook, they brought Quinn Cook back. Of course, AD is back. Jared Dudley, I think he was on the team last year. This has been a key acquisition. Marc Gasol. I think Abdul Gaines was excited about that one. Now this is something Abdul Gaines was really, really rubbing in. It was the fact that Montrezl Harrell went across the hall or upstairs, depending upon how you want to look at it, to play for the Lakers. So he swapped or flip-flopped from the Clippers to the Lakers. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. See if there's any animosity, any visible animosity from the Clipper roster towards him, and how much trash talk there is from Montrez about how the previous season went up in flames. Here's the kid that I've been hearing so much about, Talen Horton-Tucker. He's a shooting guard at 6'4" from Iowa State. Abdul Gaines was going on and on and on about how this kid was tearing up the Clippers a couple of nights ago. Of course, here's the king, LBJ. Kyle Kuzma got re-signed. I have Wesley Matthews, Alfonso McKinney, Markieff Morris, and now Dennis Schroeder. So that is your new and improved Laker roster. Okay, so we're at 1 hour and 8 minutes here. I have to finish packing. Let's take a quick look at the Clippers roster, because I want to see what the Clippers roster looks like out of my own curiosity. Even though I know some of you guys are rolling in laughter, especially you, Abdul Gaines. I know you're having a good time out there. The Clippers roster according to ESPN. So let's stop this. Let's look at the Clippers roster. So, get out of there. So, the Clippers have picked up Nicholas Batum. Patrick Beverley is back. Amir Coffey, PG-13. He's been in the news over the last 2 to 3 months for multiple reasons. Wow, $35 million. That's a lot of money. That's good money. Okay, so the Clippers picked up Serge Ibaka. He's 7 foot. He can shoot it a little bit. A little bit of rebounding, a little bit of toughness there. Maybe this is why some of those pundits picked them to go a little bit further. Reggie Jackson, this is the guy that Luka Doncic hit that miracle shot over when the Clippers switched. Okay, I'm not going to try to pronounce this name. I don't remember his name from the roster last year. Luke Kennard. He's a Dookie. The Claw, Kawhi. Whoa, so Paul George is making slightly more money than Kawhi. Interesting. Terrence Mann. Marcus Morris. Markieff Morris's brother. I was kind of mixed on this acquisition of Marcus Morris. I thought, let's see, he's 6'8". Some of the shots he took, this was one of the issues with the Clippers. I thought some of the down the stretch of those series, there were guys taking shots who I don't think should have been taking shots. I mean, ideally, you want certain guys shooting the ball more. I'm not saying Marcus can't play, but during some of those games, I was looking and saying, why is this guy shooting shots down the stretch of these games when they need production from Kawhi and Paul George and Lou Williams? Daniel Oturu, Patrick Patterson is back. Jay Scrubb doesn't even have a picture. Don't know who that is. Lou Williams is back, and Ivica Zubats is back as well. Well, there's a picture of Ray Rice and Janae, his beautiful wife, Janae. So I'm going to take a quick look at the Brooklyn Nets roster, and then I'll wrap this up. I want to see who's going to compliment Kyrie and KD. And KD took a lot of criticism a couple of years ago when he signed with the Warriors because his OKC team got beat by the Warriors, and it's like, okay, now you're going to sign with the team that beat you that's already loaded. And so, yeah, KD caught a lot of flack 2 years ago over that move. So let's go to the Brooklyn Nets roster. All right, so Brooklyn, we're looking at Jared Allen, Bruce Brown, Nicholas Claxton, Spencer Dinwiddie, Kevin Durant, Jeff Green. He's a veteran. He's been in the league for a while. Joe Harris, Kyrie, Tyler Johnson, DeAndre Jordan, Rodions Karooks, Karis LeVert, Michigan man right there. Karis LeVert played some good minutes for the Maize and Blue before he went pro. Timothy Lawuwu Cabarro, I'm assuming that's French. Jeremiah Martin, Reggie Perry, Taurean Prince, and coincidentally, Landry Shamet. So for those of you who don't know, the Clippers had Landry Shamet last year. He was on the playoff roster, and he was getting in there. Doc Rivers was putting him in, trying to stop the bleeding. And I was looking at him and thinking, well, who is this guy, Landry Shamet? Why is he taking shots? But, hey, if the guys are in the league, they're good enough to be in the league. So, you might question their ability. You might call them scrubs. Abdul Gaines likes to call certain players scrubs. But if you're in the league, you can at least play a little bit. So that's the Nets roster. And I have to admit, I haven't followed Brooklyn closely. I didn't follow them closely last year. And so many of these names are unfamiliar to me. So the Nets, their success is going to be in large part dependent upon Kyrie and KD staying healthy, but also how these guys around them play. So who's going to be their number 3, and who's going to be those spot-up shooters when KD gets double teamed, and who's going to be their spot-up shooter once Kyrie drives the ball and gets into the lane. That's going to be interesting. We have another shot here from Abdul Gaines. This says that Lemon Pepper Lou. Hey, Lou's got game, man. Lou's got game. So let me look at my little group of pictures here. Yeah, so that's gonna be this season. Those are the predictions. The Lakers are picked to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy again. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with the Clippers. Did they learn anything from last season? Will this have made Kawhi a better player? Will the chemistry on that team be galvanized somehow, or will they implode at some point during the season? Also, what's going to happen with this team, with the Nuggets? that their loss to the Lakers in the conference final, will they be able to build upon that, and will they be a much, much stronger team coming back? Because in the series that I watched, the Lakers needed that last shot from AD to beat them. And we know that sports are all about momentum. So they played well enough to, I think they were in position to tie the series at that point. And I think they played well enough to win that game. They did do some things to shoot themselves in the foot. The Joker made some bad plays, threw the ball away in some instances. Gary Harris didn't have a strong series against the Lakers. So I think the Nuggets were very much in that series. So was that a one-time thing, or will they be a force to be reckoned with again? I have another comment here from Guess Who, which says, yes, Lou has game. His wing sauce game is stellar. And then this tag team. What's this tag team going to do in the East? And if they can get their role players to play well around them, these two could easily challenge for the NBA title. But let's see what they do. There was a controversial clip that emerged over the summertime of these two sitting on screen talking, and Kyrie said something silly like, "We don't need a coach. We could just go out there and play." And I think KD backed him up on that. And KD's coming off that Achilles tendon repair surgery. So how effective will KD be after all that time off? And what's his game going to be like? Let's see. There are a lot of unknowns going into this season, aside from the Lakers being picked to win it all. But here's another interesting question: how many people will watch the NBA now that it's quote unquote back? There was a lot of controversy in the bubble over the social justice messaging, and the NBA has separated itself from that messaging to a large degree. So they're not going to have it on the backs of the players' jerseys, and they're not going to have it on the court. So, and I know that they lost viewership when the bubble started. Some would argue that, hey, we were in a pandemic, people weren't worried about basketball, but there was a contingency of fans who felt like that they didn't want to see the social justice messaging, and they didn't want to be hit with those narratives while they were trying to just watch sports. One of my subscribers here on Big Discussions 76 Sports actually told me, your viewership has fallen because some of us are boycotting the NBA because we don't want to see the social justice messaging. And I was recording content trying to keep my channel afloat, while the Big Ten was working out what it was trying to work out during COVID. So that's that. So this has become another one of my favorite pictures. So as Abdul Gaines is texting me and offloading his Laker propaganda on me, this has become one of my favorite pictures. This is Poseidon. For you millennials and zillennials, there was a Clash of the Titans movie in the early 80s starring Harry Hamlin and Burgess Meredith. And this is the scene. There were two instances in that movie where the Kraken was released and Poseidon was the ocean god. And so every time the Kraken was released, he would sit there and watch it with disbelief on his face. And I'm in disbelief every time the avalanche of Laker propaganda comes through and all the shots at MJ come through and all the shots at Michael Jordan for being a bad owner come through, and all the shots come through about Michael not being as interesting as Kobe and LeBron, and and all the anti-Michigan and Harbaugh shots come through, and all the clown clips and all those things. So I'll be watching the NBA in large part like this season, just watching what's going on. I won't Obviously, Michigan football or any football team, the games are weekly. So I will try to keep my eyes on the NBA as much as I can, and I'll probably check in and do pre-records or live streams as things happen, and probably around the bigger games. Hey, maybe with Westbrook coming here to DC, there may be a lot of content to create on how he and Bradley Beal are gelling for the Wizards. So look for that. Look for periodic NBA content here. But also, again, we are on a Harbaugh watch out in Ann Arbor. So my eyes will also be on the college football world as well. And I will probably do a live stream or two around the college football playoff. And I'll probably do a live stream as the NFL playoffs start, as well as my Buffalo Bills just won the AFC East. And I think the Bills are a threat to make a deep run into the NFL playoffs this season. And we haven't seen that for a while. So look for perhaps some Bills content going forward. So I see 2 more comments came in. I'm going to read these. I imagine there's something. I imagine that there's something worthy of my Poseidon picture. They're probably from Abdul Gaines. So let's see what he has to say this time. Alex says, the real question is, can Kyrie make his team better? Every team he's played on in the league gets worse when he's there. Outside of playing with the King, when he leaves a team, they get better. The title chances of the Clown Clips are underwater. He certainly bangs away at his drum. He certainly likes to bang away. Okay, so I'm at 1 hour 23 minutes. Alex, do you want to say something? You want to say a few words? I'll let this go for another 10 minutes if you want to come up. You want to say something? Quick yes or no. I'll drop this here. If you want to say something, you can come in and say something. If not, then I'll wrap up because I have to finish packing. But it's gotta be quick. In the meantime, how about back to the golden years when MJ hit the shot against Cleveland. Oh man, I was in seventh grade when that happened. I had a Bulls jacket. Me and my best friend, we got up, and I remember me and my best friend, we got up and we ran around my mom's living room when Jordan hit that shot. Let me take this comment down, take this picture down. Alex's, just get a quick synopsis of what Alex thinks before I shut down here. Come on, MJ, where are you? There it is. Good morning,
my brother. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah. I just want.
I see you joined our Justice League offline.
No,
you've been warned. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, I had a couple comments. We can have the LeBron debate. Maybe we can have that next year because that's just I can break that down so many different ways. It's not even close.
Okay.
In regards to the NBA season, I actually think the Clippers are probably going to finish first.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Understand that they went home early, so they had plenty of rest. And the quick turnaround for those teams that were probably in the Western Conference Finals and then the NBA Finals. I think it's a quick turnaround, especially for a team that's older like the Lakers.
Yep.
Even though they added some veteran presence, a lot of those players played in the playoffs, being Schroeder, Marcus Gasol. So, I definitely think there'll be some nights that the veteran players will take some time off. And then, I think the Clippers have something to prove where they're going to have to figure out how to play together. I think they got rid of a lot of distractions in the locker room. A lot of guys that didn't like, and it's been reported the treatment that Kawhi and Paul George were getting coming to that team, even though they've never won anything. And I believe Kawhi, is probably the luckiest player to ever win 2 championships in his life. But, he still has those. So, he's probably going to have to learn to lead a little differently and, gel with his teammates. And he's never been a number 1 on his team before. So this is the first time that that's ever happened. And, he's just, as a team, they're going to have to figure out how to work through that. So I don't think it's, you could change the coach. I don't think the coach was the issue. I just don't think that team had a pulse. And I think there were a lot of distractions. I think there were too many changes within an off season to have the turnaround. And, he didn't play. I mean, all types of stuff being reported where, the team was waiting on him because he lived in San Diego instead of living in LA. And, it really left the team a nasty taste in their mouth. And you commented on why Marcus Morris was taking some shots late in the game. It could be that Kawhi was sneaking up to join him. Paul George was hitting the side of the backboard. And they needed somebody to shoot, so why not him? He's a good player. He's a borderline all-star. He's a tough dude. And I think he's probably the most veteran. I think he has the most veteran, potent voice in that locker room, to be honest with you, which is why they kept him. He's solid. You know what you're going to get when it comes to him. He's gonna play 100% all the time. So he's a solid player. I'm not a fan of him, but I just recognize what he is, and he's a good, solid player. So, we'll see. I definitely think the Lakers are going to repeat. I just think they got so much better, and I think that even though the Clippers added some pieces, they didn't solve their 2 main issues. So that is a big, very big problem for them, and maybe they'll do it before the trading deadline. I'm not sure, but I definitely think they're going to come in, they're going to play hard. The Lakers are going to rest some players, so I think it's probably going to be them or Denver that finish first or second in the Western Conference. I'm really curious to see what happens with the East, because we need to. I don't think 70 days is enough time for you to develop a jump shot, which Giannis doesn't have. Like I said, I'm curious to see what happens with Brooklyn, because so not to get too much into it, because I know you got to get in a road. I'll make it this as quick as possible. Those 2 guys can play without question, right? The problem is that neither one of those players know how to run an offense. Both of those players have won championships, right? We can both agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that both of those players have not learned how to win a championship. Where KD went to Golden State, who had already won a championship, all he did was bolster their team. He didn't actually have to learn how to win a championship. Same thing with Kyrie. If anybody remembers, I'm a Duke guy. Kyrie's a Duke guy. I love Kyrie, but I recognize it, for what it is, where you're really, really good. You can score whenever you want, but you make nobody on your team better. And to more prove that point, when he was when he got drafted to Cleveland, they were in the lottery. They were terrible. And he was injury prone. I don't think a lot of people remember this, but Kyrie was very injury prone before LeBron got there. The healthiest he's ever been was when he was playing alongside LeBron. And, after he got traded, he went to Boston. And you would think that a player like Kyrie would make that up-and-coming team better. He made them worse. And then when he got hurt, they played better. And then, that goes away whatever way it goes. He signs with the Brooklyn Nets. Same thing. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets made the playoffs without Kyrie or without Kevin Durant, and Kyrie got there. They were not going to make the playoffs. Kyrie gets hurt. They make the playoffs. So there's a trend there. I mean, there's definitely something statistically where you can actually prove that he makes teams a lot worse than he does make them better. And in regards to Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant's probably the most efficient scorer that the NBA has ever seen. I think he's amazing, but that's exactly what he is. He's an efficient scorer. He doesn't need a ball in his hands, but he doesn't make his team better either. Like, Kevin Durant is going to do Kevin Durant regardless of whatever happens on the court. That's the reason why he's so efficient. But he doesn't make anybody better. And that's the thing that where I think that team's going to implode probably in the second year. They're not going to win next year. Their best shot, is to maybe get a third player that can create his own shot and can distribute. And I don't think they really have that right now. They do have Dinwiddie, but I believe they're bringing him off the bench. Probably their best bet to be successful is to probably move him into the starting lineup and allow him to distribute, allow Kyrie to maybe go a little bit more off ball, and have somebody that can actually run whatever offense that they want to run. So, I mean, and I think depending on what happens with Philly, that's the dark horse. So I think if Philly ends up trading for Harden, I don't know if they will or not, but if they do, with the shooters they have around them and Embiid in the middle, given the fact that Embiid can actually stay healthy and he's not, out of shape, I think they have a real legitimate shot in the East as well.
I just realized Steve Nash is coaching these guys.
Yes, he's never been head coach before either.
Oh, so, yes, he's got a big job just managing Kyrie.
Yeah. So now, granted, they have a lot of previous NBA players and a lot of veteran coaches on their staff. Yeah. But they have a lot of things going against them. I just think, throughout the years, you've seen it when you're trying to build a championship outside of, you just going to grab LeBron James and you're automatically in the finals. It's really, really tough. It takes a year or two to get things, you're trying to move an entire ship in a different direction, and it might take a season or two. So I definitely think if they can figure those things out that I highlighted, that, they'll definitely be a force. They'll definitely be a force. I feel like they're very, very top heavy as a team. They're very top heavy, and they definitely need somebody to distribute the ball, just like LA needs somebody to distribute the ball. So I think that's going to be LA's downfall if they don't get a point guard in there that helps them run the offense. They're not going to get out the first or second round. They're just not. They're going to get killed. It doesn't matter how many good wing defenders you have on your team. None of that matters. If you don't have a player that can come in, distribute the ball, and run your offense, your team's only going to go so far.
Okay, when you say LA, you're talking about the Clippers.
The Clippers, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to pull up.
So for instance, like last season, and just somebody who's a floor general, so to speak. So somebody who knows how to get players to their spots. And when you have Kawhi or Paul George handling the ball majority of the game, that's not what Patrick Beverley does. Lou Williams is he's an off the bench, hot or cold, streaky scorer. That's not what he does. So, you need a player, you need a point guard to make, those guys' jobs a lot easier. So although I don't think they're terrible. I think as the team is constructed, they're missing a very, very, very big piece. It hindered them last year. It's going to hinder them this year. When Denver goes on a 20-something run, what play can you go to where you can get to a certain spot on the floor where a guard can get you the ball and you can go to work, where you need a bucket. They don't have that. Majority of the teams in the NBA have that, and the Clippers don't. So until they get that solved, I think they're going to be a first or second round exit every year.
They definitely look lost down the stretch. of games.
That's why.
Okay. This is the Sixers roster. I didn't realize Dwight went over there. So
yeah,
Seth Curry, Joel Embiid,
they got some
Danny
shooters.
Green. So they picked up a bunch of Lakers. Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Dwight, Isaiah Joe. Yes, a lot of these names I don't recognize because I haven't followed this team closely.
Mm-hmm.
But
they have a very very good roster.
And Doc is coaching this team.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something, and I'm a fan of Doc Rivers.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. He's a hard coach. Phil Jackson said something about Doc Rivers one time, and it wasn't personal, strictly professional. When Doc was coaching the Celtics,
yep,
and Phil was coaching the Lakers,
yep,
he said to his team, "Don't worry, Doc Rivers knows how to lose games."
Wow.
And think about it like this: outside of Boston, he did it in Orlando.
Yep.
He did it multiple times in LA. So, and he's even done it in Boston. I mean, that team, that Celtics team. Now I'll give him credit. That Celtics team, fully intact, has never lost a series. They never lost a series fully intact. They've always had some type of injury, which, they end up losing. So 1 year it was KG, 1 year it was Kendrick Perkins, but fully intact, they've never lost a series. But, that's beside the point. But Phil Jackson has said that about Doc Rivers, that, his teams know how to lose games.
Well, that was the question when that meltdown happened, was going back.
Which meltdown? Which one?
Against the Nuggets.
Okay.
And Doc Rivers fell on the floor. The question was
so many under Doc Rivers. I wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
Yeah. So was it when the Celtics won? Was it because of him, or was it because they had those three players and they had things lined up just right? Because you remember when Doc went to Orlando, he only got Tracy McGrady because Grant was supposed to go as well, and that Orlando team didn't.
And Chris Webber, Tim Duncan, but one of those were Tim Duncan was supposed to leave, and he ended up staying. And then they're trying to get Chris Webber, but he ended up not coming.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they got Tracy McGrady, who I think is just as good as Michael Jordan, but we'll have that discussion later. But yeah, they only got Tracy, obviously Grant, with the ankle issues. I'm just glad that he could have died. So I'm glad that, he's healthy and he's at least be able to play a little bit and then, play a little bit. But even still, a lot of things are based on, especially when it comes to organization, what players, how do you build the organization, from a player standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, from a developmental standpoint, and I think T Mac is probably the most underrated NBA player in history. He's just ridiculous. But if you look at the players who played with him, they didn't put anybody around him. So I think Orlando, and I live in Florida, so I can say this. Orlando, outside of the year that they had Stan Van Gundy, they've never really put stock in the last 20 years into trying to win. They haven't been doing it right. So they haven't brought in players, they haven't developed players. Even right now, they have a bunch of young players, a bunch of lottery picks, and they're all just super average. So that's just what they are right now. They haven't broke through. I don't know what's going on there from an organizational standpoint. They just haven't got the right pieces to fit, and I don't think they did that when Doc was there either.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll close down there. So, Alex, thanks for coming up. The season tips off tonight with the ring ceremony.
I'm not even going to watch it. It's I'm probably not going to watch the game. No. Look, man, I could show you. I have presents that I'm wrapping right now. So I'm gonna hop back on and get back to work. But I'll probably end up watching it probably after All-Star break.
Yeah.
I'll catch it here and there, but I'll probably try to catch it after All-Star break and maybe try to really get into it. I'm curious to see what happens in college. I'm a college guy, so I'm curious what's happened going on there. And Kentucky's like 1 in a million. They've only won one game. They're trash right now, so I'm curious to see what happens with them. But no, I'm not really gonna watch it until probably mid-season.
Okay.
So
we know at least one guy who will be watching. This fan right here is going to be watching tonight.
Hey man, listen. When them clips go clipping, like there's nothing you can do about it. Like it's just that they're just going to give you the game. They don't want to win. Them clips go clipping.
All right. And I'll know about what happened on this game probably late tonight, around 2 a.m. or 1 a.m.
Yeah, I'll see it. I'm in it now, so you guys are in trouble. You guys let me in the door.
It's like a 24/7 news cycle, man.
That's all right.
All right, everyone. Thank you for those who watched. Thank you for if you're watching this on the playback, please like, share, and subscribe. I think I'm at 860 right now, so that means I'm 140 away from the holy number. We are still, we're still on a Harbaugh watch.
Before you hop off, what do you think is going to happen?
What do I think is going to happen?
Yeah.
I'll bet because I read that they want the NFL season to end first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll place a bet that he'll go back.
I think so too.
So
I think that, but I think they're going to lose players. They're going to lose even more. I mean, they lost some recruits already that flipped to other schools that were heavily considering Michigan. They've lost some recruits already. So there's going to be a trickle-down effect. I have a hot take for you.
Go ahead.
Hot take. If they don't bring him back, J.J. McCarthy ends up at Notre Dame.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's not the coach that recruits you. If he goes, then yeah. Yeah,
I definitely can see that happen. I mean, a lot of players are going to stay because he's leaving, and then a lot of players are going to go because he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it's a revolving door right now. It's a mess, and I saw something the other day that I thought was interesting. We were having a conversation. Obviously, Clemson playing Ohio State. Ohio State's never beat Clemson, and then it kind of made me think that now I know what it's like to be Michigan because you guys really never beat us, and we never really beat Clemson. So now it's kind of like, oh, that's what that feels like. So we can actually relate. I can relate to you. A little bit. We still win Big Ten titles.
Yes.
But I can relate to the losing because I want to be Clemson more than anything in the world. I hate Dabo Swinney. I love him, but I hate him at the same time.
Yeah. This guy right here, he does too. Him and his brother, they hate Clemson as well.
Yeah, I mean they're good though. That's the problem. They're good and they back it up, which is why I love them. I just hate them because we haven't beaten them yet. So, but I believe this year is going to be the year. I think we're going to take it this year, especially now that they have figured out that running game. The one thing about I know we didn't talk about the college football playoff, but the one thing about Ohio State is they beat you how you think they can't beat you.
Okay.
So, Northwestern, tough defense, number one running defense in the country. Yeah, they just only break the school record against you in rushing. Teams that stop the pass, they only throw for 400 yards. So they go at what you do best to beat you. That is the one thing I love about Ohio State. A lot of people nobody ever talks about that. They never talk about that, and that's okay. But I'm excited to see I'm excited to see what happens with the team up north. So I'm really curious to see what direction they go in. I believe he should be gone. Initially I was saying no, but the more information that came in, the more I started to think about it. And Joe Milton still has not entered the transfer portal yet. I just want to point that out. He's still Michigan, still there.
Hey, I owe that kid a lot, man. He took me from 200 subs to like 800. So yeah. I'll forever be in Joe Milton's debt.
But I'm curious to see what happens with that program. I mean, it's a mess, and I really want to see them make some wholesale changes and kind of get things back on track. So I'm hoping the best for them, so that way we can have a good game next year, hopefully.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna sign off here. Alex, thanks for coming up.
Of course.
Well, I'm sure I'll be hearing from you before now that you're in our little Justice League. But enjoy the rest of your day. Everyone, be safe out there shopping and whatever it is you are doing. I'm not sure what we're on a Harbaugh watch. We're on a watch for everything. So I'm not sure what's going to come next, but whatever it is. So with that, please like, share, and subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please. Yep.
Please subscribe.
As always, remember, everyone, that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a good holiday.
Have a safe trip.
Thanks.